Just when I think this show can't possibly get better than last week's episode, this episode changes everything that I thought I knew about this show. Welcome back, everybody. We are here to talk about Fallout Season 2, Episode 5, The Wrangler. And this episode is a doozy. So buckle on up, partner. This episode doesn't just change what I thought I knew about Season 2, it changes some things that I thought I knew about Season 1. It changes some things that some people were very mad about, possibly. And I don't know if this is something that has been added into the story to address the ire of some of the fandom, or if this is a change that they decided to, this isn't a change, this is where we were headed all along. I don't know. Before we get into this, I want to know, what is something from the Fallout universe you would love to see featured in this game? Is there a prop? Is there a place? Is there an event? Is there some lore that you would love to see? Let me know in the comments down below. At the beginning of the season, we were introduced to Mr. House, who I gotta say, I love. We have Justin Theroux as Mr. House, the real Mr. House. And I love that Mr. House has a front man, so all of that works and makes sense. He has an amazing scene with Walton Goggins where he talks about the end of the world and the fact that he is a man who deals with mathematics and robotics. For everything that he is working on, it is a calculation. And he is trying to become the man that knows everything. In fact, he claims he knows everything, and yet in the same scene, there are some things that he doesn't know, which bothers him because he spends his entire time calculating all of these different odds of what'll happen so that he can know what the future will hold, so that he can predict technology that comes up that he can then buy and he can use. And in this case, he has predicted when the world is going to end using his ultimate calculator. And the date matches up, curiously enough, with Coop's daughter's birthday. Why is that? What is that? And in this scene, we have Mr. House trying to figure out who is going to be the one to start the beginning of the end. And he's trying to prepare for when that comes to pass. And also is trying to figure out who's behind this. And while Coop has been sent to deal with Mr. House and decides to go rogue and not do that and approach it in his own way, Mr. House is worried that Coop could even be the person. He doesn't know who's behind it. He's like, it could be you. You could be the person that does this. I'm sorry. What? What is happening? And so in our flashback at the bar, and then after when the Ghoul gets back to his, I guess, hotel room, he is thinking back to this time when he went to Vegas with his wife and how after he had this confrontation with House, he, got lost in the drink, and we end that flashback scene with him telling his wife that they have to have a conversation. And so it's clear to me, based on where we've gone so far, that I imagine Coop is going to lay all his cards on the table and just tell his wife what's up, because now I think he doesn't really know who's the bad guy and who's the good guy and what's even happening. This figure that he imagined to be this ultimate villain is maybe not that. In fact, there could be someone else at the table that has not been revealed. That is what is implied through that conversation. And we don't even know who that is. Or maybe we do know who that is. Maybe we've already met them. But I love the mystery of this. I love that everything that we are building now at this point feels like we are building to the end of season 2, and it's going to be a really big ending. And that is something that I've talked about throughout my reviews of this season. Just the pacing is amazing, but it's not just the pacing. Lucy also has her own journey in this episode. She is still dealing with addiction. I said before, we've all dealt with it in Fallout at one time or another. And she's going to get some Addictol, which the Ghoul kindly gave her some caps to go get so she could fix herself up. And it is during her journey to go do that she gets into a spot of trouble herself. And while she's on her way on this journey, we get to go through the streets of Vegas, New Vegas, and we get to go into a little shop. And I just have to say, the sets on this show are unparalleled. And it's not just about the props and the items and the decoration of the set. It's also about the fact that they just really fill these places with extras that make sense. Like, in every extra, every person on the set feels like they have a story. Like, it feels like you are in the game of Fallout. And every character, every NPC is just so well designed and established. And I'm just like, dang, they do not pull their punches in this show. She gets into a bit of a shootout situation with someone who clearly is a murderer. So, I mean, I don't think she really has to feel that guilty about it. But the fact that she's so quick to move to violence is making her question who she's becoming, how the wasteland is affecting her. And she also ends up being put in the situation with the ghoul where her reaction is maybe not quite what we would expect. In fact, the ending of this episode is so shocking. We need to talk about it. But I also want to talk about the parallels between Lucy and her brother and how the wasteland is really messing, I think, with both of them. Norm is also one of the characters we're focusing on in this episode. And he is now, of course, out of the vaults. He has this group that he's leading, and they end up at Vault Tech, and he ends up trying to look into the files of who is behind potentially everything that's been happening in the vaults, the experiments. He wants to know more about these experiments. And of course, who is the head of that? None other than Coop's wife, Barbara, of course. He's looking into this information, and while he's venturing out to Vault Tech, they also run into the women that we knew from season 1. And I love that all these extras are coming back. We have the doctor, and we also have the 2 women that Lucy ran into before. I love them. They're so great. Both of those actresses are amazing. And they give him similar advice to what Lucy got, which is the idea that Norm should go home and he should go back to the vault because he's not cut out for this. He's too soft for the wasteland. And honestly, I would say Lucy was too, but the thing is, the wasteland changes people, and that's what we're seeing in this episode. We're seeing these shifts of these characters, and wow, are they some interesting shifts. So while Norm is looking everything up, he gets in a fight with one of the guys in his group who did suspect that Norm was not who he said he was. And unfortunately, Norm chose to reveal this to someone that he trusts, only to have that be overheard by somebody else that suspected him, I think, the whole time from not being who he was. So he gets in this fight. He almost dies, but he just manages to live. He's almost completely strangled to death. Also, it's weird that there's strangle and wrangle, and those things rhyme. Isn't that weird? And everything in this episode culminates to this moment where Lucy finally joins back up with the ghoul. She got the addict doll. She's taken it. She's throwing up. She's not feeling well. And when she reconnects with the ghoul, there is an emissary there from her dad. And this is the doctor who was able to actually successfully be mind controlled by the device. And he tells Lucy that they would like to basically create a bargain, which is that if the ghoul takes Lucy back to the vault where she can be safe, then Hank is not going to mess with the ghoul's family, who he actually has, who is there. And we see that as well in this episode. But obviously, that's all he has, and he reveals to Lucy the reason why he is on this quest with her, specifically, which I was wondering about. Why does the ghoul need Lucy? Not for her DNA to access something because of her connection to Hank, but because of her connection to Hank and the fact that she could be used essentially as a bartering chip, as a hostage. And Hank has said that he will leave the ghoul's family alone if the ghoul just takes Lucy back. And the ghoul accepts this offer. And Lucy is knocked out, but she manages to push through and get back up for her to use a power fist to punch the ghoul out the window in response, saying, "I thought we were friends," and he falls to his death? He's impaled, and in the chest, and I mean, I know I said he's high level, and I know I said he can survive anything, but I don't know how you survive this. And part of me wants to think that this is actually part of the ghoul and Lucy's plan. Like somehow they knew this was coming. I just feel like this is all really real. And that's the thing that I said I've loved about Fallout and that I continue to love. I never know where this story is going. I don't know if the ghoul will be okay. All of the stakes feel real because all of the motivations for the characters are so fully realized. The character work in this show is so well done. And I am blown away by where this episode leaves us. We do get a little bit of the death clause at the beginning, but this episode is really all about our characters' journeys and the lore at large, establishing some new stuff about maybe the war didn't start the way we thought it did in season 1, and maybe that is also a red herring. Maybe everything's a red herring. At this point, I have no idea what to believe, but I'm very curious to see where the story takes me. And I love that everyone is able to play these moments so truthfully. You get so invested in the journey, and you don't really know where it's going to go because everyone's just embodying their characters with such commitment that it makes it feel real. So you don't know what people are going to do. Just like in real life, you never know what someone's going to say. I don't know what I'm going to say doing this video. Sometimes I make notes. Usually I'm just thinking and then I sit down and I go. And that is the beauty of Fallout. It keeps you on your toes. So I can't wait for the next episode. I can't wait to see who this other person could be. I honestly don't even know who it could be, but I'd love to hear your theories on it down in the comments below. So please let me know what you are thinking, because yeah, we need to discuss. That's all I have for this one, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy. Bye! And if you love when I talk about Fallout and you missed any of my other episode reviews, you can check that out over here.